Welcome to my chemistry channel, Short and Sweet in Chemistry, B.L.DASH. I also want to welcome the topic distinction between pair of organic compounds. Now the chapter is amine, part 4, amine. Now in amine so many important reactions are there. But what are the reactions are necessary here to distinguish between pair of compounds? Actually, we will see the reaction where we can observe the color of the precipitate and if any color of the solution, if any order of the product. If we will observe these all the things here, then we can distinguish pair of organic compounds of amine. It will become very easy. Now see first tip point by which we should distinguish between pair of organic compounds. Let us start that one. Point 1. Primary amine gives a Carbyl amine test. Primary amine, what is primary amine? When NH2 group is attached to the either alkyl group or benzene ring, then it is primary amine. If it is attached to alkyl group, then it is example CH3NH2. CH3 means methyl. Methyl which attached to NH2, that indicates it is primary. What is the name? Methyl amine, ethyl amine, propyl amine. They are called primary amine. When primary amine, it is aliphatic one, that is alkyl amine, that is methyl amine. When react with CHCl3, what is CHCl3? Chloroform. And here the condition, that condition is potassium hydroxide, which is alcoholic. Potassium hydroxide, there are two types, one is aqueous KOH, other one is alcoholic KOH. Alcoholic KOH mean you should add here 2 ml, 1 ml of KOH, sorry 1 ml of alcohol, then it becomes alcoholic KOH. Then what is the product? The product is methyl isocyanide, that having foul smell, that having bad smell. And what is the byproduct? KCl and water. Remember here it gives isocyanide. Isocyanide smell is foul smell. Now similarly aniline, that is also primary amine, but here benzene is attached to NH2 group, and again you take chloroform and alcoholic KOH, and after that it will give foul smell on heating. And what is that one? That is phenyl isocyanide. What is that one? Phenyl isocyanide, and byproduct are KCl and water. This is the very important test, that is called Carbyl amine test, by which we can distinguish between primary and other amine. Primary either it is aliphatic or aromatic. Now you can take example ethyl amine. Ethyl amine, that's same CH3 CH2 NH2, that is primary one because NH2 group is attached. And diethyl amine, see here only NH2 group is attached, and here totally primary group is attached. So that is why it is ethyl amine is one primary, whereas diethyl amine is secondary. Now ethyl amine, again when react with chloroform and alcoholic KOH, then it gives ethyl isocyanide, that having foul smell. Remember any alkyl isocyanide having foul smell. Then by byproduct same KCl and water. And but here since it is dimethylamine is a secondary one, you know secondary amine never gives Carbyl amine test, only primary aromatic or aliphatic amine give Carbyl amine test. Now the example here that is C2H5 NH2H5, that is secondary, that is why you should write secondary, that means diethylamine which is secondary one does not give this test. You should write, otherwise it has no meaning. First you write the test which is positive to the which compound? First compound, and second this compound that is does not give, so you should mention. Then second example aniline. Aniline means benzene attached to NH2, that means it indicates it is one primary aromatic amine. And the N-methyl aniline, N-methyl, see here CH3 group attached to N nitrogen, that is why it is called N-methyl, and which is original house aniline. So N-methyl aniline, N with N CH3 group attached, so N-methyl, and this is original house aniline, so it is N-methyl aniline. Then come to how can you distinguish between two? Here you can observe one is primary, other one is secondary. Which one primary? Aniline was primary, and which is secondary? N-methyl aniline is secondary, and I told already primary aromatic amine or aliphatic amine give Carbyl amine test. Since it is a primary aromatic amine, that is why it will react with the potassium hydroxide, which is alcoholic, and chloroform, which gives phenyl isocyanide, that having foul smell. Any isocyanide, either alkyl or phenyl, that is foul smell, sorry. But this, which one? N-methyl-aniline, that is a secondary one. So you should mention this does not give this test. Does not give this test. Why? Because when it distinguishes between a pair of organic compound, one is positive, one is giving positive test, other should not give. That is why you should mention the second one, it does not give this particular test. Now we will see other reaction by which you can distinguish between a pair of organic compounds. We will see the next reaction, next point 2. What is that? That is very important for primary aromatic amine, especially aniline. What happens to aniline when nitrous acid is treated at 0 degrees centigrade, or you can say 273 Kelvin? Actually, aniline, which is aromatic primary amine, when react with acid, nitrous acid, this nitrous acid is not available in lab. Immediately you have to prepare. That is why take aniline in a test tube and add sodium nitrite and hydrochloric acid. But temperature should be maintained. What is the temperature? 0 degrees centigrade. That means 273 Kelvin. Then only it gives benzene diazonium chloride. What is the product? Benzene diazonium chloride. The product react with phenol. The product, that is benzene diazonium chloride, and here phenol. Phenol is write in this way so that hydrogen and chlorine both will react and gives the byproduct. Then what happens here? You write down this up to N2, N11N, and next is part of phenol. Then this is azo dye. What is the color of azo dye? Orange or red. Here the red color, which is the main reaction by which you can say primary aromatic amine can be differentiated with secondary and other amines, not secondary, tertiary. Primary aromatic amine should be differentiated with other amine. Now next is tip point 3. Tip point 3, that is Hinsberg test. Hinsberg test is very important. How can you distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary? Leave it prime, that means it may be aromatic or may be aliphatic. That is not important. Important is primary, secondary and tertiary. It may be aliphatic or may be aromatic. Then what happens here? You will take amine, what is given to you, either primary or secondary, tertiary. What happens? Let us example, this is primary amine, methyl amine. You know methyl amine is the primary amine. You take benzene sulfonyl chloride. What is the formula? C6H5SO2Cl. Then excess of NOH. First add NOH, then immediately white precipitate form, and after that also you are excess, immediately the white precipitate which is formed, that is soluble in excess of sodium hydroxide. At last what you will get? You will get clear solution. That means primary amine may be aliphatic or may be aromatic. It will give first white precipitate, and after that with excess of NaOH immediately it dissolves and you will get a clear solution. Now if you take aniline also same reaction, because it is primary aromatic amine, same process, excess of alkali, you will get the clear solution. The next come to secondary. This one is secondary, this is primary, and this is primary amine, and it is secondary amine. Then what happens here? Primary amine and secondary amine. Here only one hydrogen is there, because the formula is R2NH. R2NH means, that means one hydrogen is there. That means it is a secondary amine. Let us write here dimethylamine. Dimethylamine is one secondary amine. When you react with benzene sulfonyl chloride with excess of NaOH, what happens? Here white precipitate is formed only. It will never dissolve in excess of NaOH. The work is over. White precipitate is formed and it will not dissolve with excess of NaOH. That means primary amine gives clear solution, secondary amine gives a white precipitate. Now see, if tertiary amine, now it is trimethylamine. In trimethylamine, what happens, what you observe, here see there is no hydrogen, because what is the general formula? R3N. Here there is no free hydrogen. If there is no free hydrogen, how can it will react with benzene sulfonyl chloride? Now what happens here, there is no hydrogen, that is why you add excess of alkali that means there is no white precipitate, there is no reaction at all when tertiary amine is treated with benzene sulfonyl chloride. Now I have taken one example of diphenylamine, which is secondary aromatic amine. What is that one? Diphenylamine. So here it will react, it is secondary amine, that is why it will react with benzene sulfonyl chloride, and with excess of alkali it gives a white precipitate. So again you can say here it is one secondary amine. So what happens here? It is secondary amine, it is so it reacts with excess of alkali and C6H5SO2Cl benzene sulfonyl chloride, one hydrogen is free, that is why it reacts with chlorine and gives a white precipitate. I hope it is clear to you. Again see, aromatic primary amine react with nitrous acid, and after that what is the product? Benzene diazonium chloride, and this one when react with phenol it gives a azo dye, that color is red. That is very important. How can distinguish between primary aromatic amine with other amines? And tip point 3, you see the Hinsberg test, which is very important distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary amine. So the amine may be aliphatic or may be aromatic. Let us see the examples where the azo dye test is evolved. Now see here ethylamine and aniline. Ethylamine, that is aliphatic primary amine, whereas aniline is aromatic primary amine. We know any aliphatic or aromatic primary amine will react with chloroform and KOH, that is ethanolic KOH, that is called Carbyl amine test. Here both C2H5NH2 and that aniline both will give positive test for Carbyl amine, that is a foul smell. Then how can we distinguish between ethylamine amine and aniline? Here only possible by the azo dye test. So you take aniline and add nitrous acid at 273 Kelvin, that is NaNO2HCl, and gives benzene diazonium chloride. This benzene diazonium chloride react with phenol, it gives para-hydroxyazobenzene, that is called azo dye, and its color is red. That means both compounds, one is ethylamine, other is aniline, both are positive towards Carbyl amine test. That is why it can be distinguished only by the help of azo dye. What is that? You will take NaNO2HCl 0 degree centigrade, then add phenol, it gives azo dye test, it gives red color. But ethylamine does not give this test. You should write ethylamine. Why ethylamine does not give this test? Because here there is no free benzene ring, there is only aliphatic group. That is why aliphatic primary amine never gives this test. Example 4, diethylamine and triethylamine. One is secondary, other one is tertiary. One is secondary, other one tertiary. That means it is only possible to distinguish by the help of benzene sulfonyl chloride. That is called Hinsberg test. Now see, yes, this is diethylamine and 6,5-SO2Cl. It gives the product which is white precipitate, when in the presence of excess NaOH, it was only white precipitate, that precipitate never dissolve in excess of NaOH, whereas primary amine will dissolve the white precipitate in excess of NaOH and will give clear solution. So you should write, but no reaction with tertiary amine. Why triethylamine has no reaction with this benzene sulfonyl chloride? Because there is no free hydrogen here. That is why this no reaction with triethylamine. Then come to example 5, where you will see diphenylamine and other one is triphenylamine. Diphenylamine, that means here phenyl group are there and here 2 times C6H5 whole to NH and hydrogen is free, where triphenylamine there is no hydrogen here. That is why diphenylamine react with the benzene sulfonyl chloride, or you can say it is positive for the Hinsberg test. In excess of NaOH it gives a white precipitate, whereas triphenylamine will never give any white precipitate. There is no reaction at all. Why? Because there is no hydrogen is free, so that it will react of chlorine of benzene sulfonyl chloride. So you should write here triphenyl does not react with C6H5SO2Cl, or it is not give any positive test for Hinsberg test. Example 6, methylamine and dimethylamine. Methylamine is primary and dimethylamine is secondary. Then what happens here? Here we can do that Hinsberg test, or we can do that Carbyl amine test, because we know methylamine that is positive for Carbyl amine and test, and here that is the dimethylamine, since it is secondary, it is also positive for Hinsberg test. So that is why we can do both tests. One is Carbyl amine test, by which methylamine give positive, and that second one that means dimethylamine, which gives white precipitate. We can see the white precipitate with benzene sulfonyl chloride with excess of NaOH. So I hope it is clear. If primary aromatic amine, primary aliphatic amine, what would the test, and if there is secondary and tertiary, what is the important test. For the primary aliphatic and primary aromatic amine, that important is the azodite test. For secondary and tertiary, what is that important test? That is Hinsberg test. I hope that amine chapter, amine distinction between pair of compounds in amine, it is clear to you. If you like this video, please like and share and subscribe my channel, that is short and sweet in chemistry, B.L.DASH. Thank you all.